Hey guys, Behemoth Bash here. It's been a while since I've seen everyone, so I figured I'd put out a video and explain a little bit about what's been going on, why my channel has been dead, my Twitter's been dead, the stream's been dead, let everybody know what's up, and continue on with our Final Fantasy I Red Mage run. So we left off after beating Garland to rescue the Princess Corneria. And the king built us a bridge to get over to the next area, so we're going to be heading to the next town now. Along the way, I'm looking to fight a few monsters here and there to pick up a little bit more XP and some more gil, because stuff's going to start to get expensive pretty quickly. And being a party of red mages, I want to be outfitted as best as possible, especially with the permadeath clause. So I'm trying to keep everybody in as good a shape as I possibly can. We're going to be heading up towards the bridge right now, and it's going to go ahead and spawn a cutscene. And so their journey began. As warriors of light, the four youths faced a staggering mission and a stormy destiny. The four crystals they carried remained a mystery to them. In ages past, those crystals had radiated a dazzling light. The time for heroes is at hand. Darkness must be banished, so the light of peace can illuminate the world once more. Now we get to see the title scene, and that is the opening of the game. You might call it the true opening, if you want to call the beginning area tutorial, I guess. But here we go. And again, this is Final Fantasy I on the PlayStation, Final Fantasy Origins version. So the next town we're going to is actually called Provoca, and it's to the east. There's a cave to the north here, but we're not going to be going there just yet. It's got something for us later in the game. Right now, not so much, so we're just going to skip it. This is mostly walking to the town, so I'll go ahead and talk about some of what's been going on recently. So the first big piece of news is that I am stepping down as an admin for Smite Community. This is for a lot of reasons, but mostly it's just time. Time that I no longer have. It was about a year ago now that Lord Surge took over when we had some other admins leave. I stepped up to fill the place of the web designer and graphics designer for the site. It was originally my intent to just be a temporary thing. Like, I always wanted to stream. That was my goal for Smite Community. That's what I wanted to do. But as it turned out, I had less time to stream the more I was working on the graphics and design. So that kind of became my full-time job there. And I stopped streaming. So that's what kind of happened with that, is I was working a lot more on the back end of things. Plus, at the time, Smite was not in a fun place for me. I wasn't a big fan of the game at the start of Season 2. I wasn't a big fan of a lot of the changes, so I kind of wanted to take a break from the game. And I did that by, helping out with the graphics and web design. So I was still close to the game, but I wasn't playing as much. So I continued on in that admin role through the spring and into the summer. Then I got an interesting offer in my day job. I actually got the opportunity to move from a help desk position, a little bit higher than help desk position. It was a customer support was my title, kind of like tier 2 help desk. And I got the opportunity to move from that to the system administration team, which has kind of been what I've wanted to do as a career for a long time. You're going to see me heal up Marcus here as he's gotten a little bit low, and I don't want to take the chance of him taking another hit and dying on me. Because of that permadeath clause of this run, you're going to see me try to keep everybody topped off as much as possible. There are going to be a few times in this video, though, where you see me get kinda dangerously low. There's one place in particular that I was kinda clenching my butthole a little bit. So back to the story. Getting into system administration is actually not very easy to do, because most people want you to have experience coming in, even for entry-level positions. And my employer wasn't really any different. They knew I had the basic skills and knew the concepts, but I didn't really have the hands-on experience. So for a good 6 months or so, I actually worked a split job, where for half the week I would come in and do system administration work, and then literally Wednesday at noon, my job would switch and I would go back to doing my customer support job. During that time, I spent most of my free time when I wasn't working on Smite community stuff. I was learning more about system administration, researching stuff on my off time, trying to learn up as much as I possibly could, because the position wasn't guaranteed to me. It was kind of a trial thing, and I was looking to prove myself. So I spent a lot of time learning PowerShell and some other system administration concepts. And that has actually turned into almost a second full-time job. And eventually it got to the point where I didn't really have enough time to work on Smite community stuff either. And my contributions kind of trickle off. I mean, I would still do as much as I possibly could, but deadlines started getting missed and it just wasn't good for anybody. I talked to Surge about it and let him know what was up and how I originally had wanted to stream and that I expected this to be temporary. And I agreed to stay on and help as much as I could, and at least until he got more help. And eventually that happened. That right there was actually a pretty close call. The way the frontline backline works in this game is that your top 2 characters are more or less the frontline and the bottom 2 are the backline, making now more likely to get hit. And with these mobs doing 10 to 12 damage, at least the Wargwolf can, he was definitely in huge danger of dying there. And again, I've made the mistake of letting Marcus get real low too. So I will probably go on a healing spree right about now-ish. Back to the story. Brian and Tim actually recently decided to come back to the Smite community and take back over their old jobs. So we have our original design team back, and that allows me to step down and let them take the reins. I'm still staying with Smite community. I'm actually going to fill the role of a cover streamer for right now. And hopefully one day when everything calms down, I get it back on a regular schedule and have some more free time, I'll go back to doing regular streams for them. But basically, between Smite community work and my actual work, I haven't really had a whole lot of time for games in general. So I haven't been playing much, I haven't been streaming much, I haven't been recording much. That's why you haven't really seen me post anything or, stream for a long time. Things are hopefully going to calm down soon and I'll be able to start putting up a little bit more content on my personal channel. The goal is to hopefully be able to put up a video a week, and I'm going to work through Final Fantasy 1, finish the Red Mage run, and then we'll see where things go from there. I'm going to be focusing on YouTube right now because it's a lot easier to work on content in spurts this way. Like, I can record some gameplay while I've got some free time and then come back and do post-commentary later, which this is if you hadn't figured it out already. And that just allows me to be a lot more flexible. So I can still be playing some games and putting stuff out, but I'm not committed to that 7, 8 o'clock every night stream schedule, which is really, really hard to maintain right now. And here is actually the heal fest that I was talking about. And we've already come upon Provoca. Now as we walk in here, you're going to notice there's not really a lot of people around. And there's a good reason for that. The pirates came and sacked Provoca, which they go back out to the sea. That is what happened here. And over here you're actually going to see the pirates. We're going to skip them for now, because that is actually the next boss. So we're going to go ahead and do a little bit of item purchasing. You're going to see me shopping around here, but I ended up just picking up a sleeping bag. Sleeping bags and tents will let you heal your entire party out in the field. Sleeping bags heal for a little, tents heal for a lot, but tents are way more expensive. And Gil is a little bit limited right now. Next, we're going to head over to the armor shop. Here you're going to see me pick up a chainmail and some leather gloves for everybody. And that's going to take up a good chunk of the money. Chainmail is everybody can wear it, and it's going to give us a lot of good protection against the next boss. Instead of hitting us for like 10 to 12, instead they're going to only hit us for 1 to 2. So I'm going to try to buy as many as I can before we move on. And now we're going to sell off that leather armor. We're not going to hold on to many items we don't need in this run. Now we're going to head over to the inn and save our game. Then check out what's for sale on the west side of town. There's actually not going to be too much we can afford over there yet. Not going to deal with you guys just yet. Saving in this game is a little bit different from some of the newer Final Fantasies. You can actually only save at inns or in the field if you use a tent or a cabin. This version actually offers you the option to use what's called a memo file, and it's kind of like a one-time save where you can save your game and quit and then reload from that save, but when you do, the save goes away. I'm not really going to make use of that because I feel like that would be cheating for the no-death run here. You're going to see me go in here. This is actually the church. We will never use this. This is where you will go to revive any dead heroes. This is the white magic shop. They don't really have anything we want right yet. This is the black magic shop, and they do have some spells that we want. Specifically, I want to pick up Ice 1 as soon as possible. But it's really expensive right now, so we're actually going to go out to the field and fight some monsters first. I'm going to go ahead here and look at the weapons. Can't really afford anything there either. Unfortunately, with the older title, there is a good amount of grinding. For the sake of completeness, I'm not going to cut that out of the video, but I am going to speed it up and skip over quite a bit of it, and I'll just talk over the more interesting parts. So this is going to be our first grind fest. This area has a few different types of monsters you can fight. Mostly it's these wolves and the goblins, but you're going to see a few interesting enemies pop up. I'll be sure to talk about those whenever we see them. I actually want to take a minute to talk about a video I made about a year ago. And that was the how to set up in-game Twitch chat overlay video. Occasionally, it's still getting views. It's got a lot of views, more than anything else I've ever done. And occasionally I'll get people asking me questions about it. Unfortunately, I just can't answer everybody. Plus, the instructions are a little bit outdated now. They never really worked with everything to begin with. I can't go through and troubleshoot every single game for people, so if I don't respond to your question there, I'm sorry. I'm not really trying to ignore you or be a dick or anything. It's just really not feasible for me to go through and test every single, or try to solve every single problem every person has there. It's kind of interesting to see these crazy horses here because they actually weren't in the original NES version of the game. Instead, you would normally see scorpions and iguanas here, but they're nowhere to be found in the Origins version, at least not in this area. In this fight, you're going to see a werewolf, which is a stronger version of the wolves and wargs we've been fighting before. I'm going to go ahead and focus him first to take him out. Definitely the biggest threat to us. The goblin guards are going to fall without too much trouble. This area is a pretty decent place to farm up early in the game, especially because some of the monsters we're going to see are going to drop a fairly significant amount of gil. Like we just got over 100 for that fight, and there's some other monsters that are going to drop a lot more than that. Here we're going to see a ghast. They were in the original game, but they were named differently. They were called Geists. And these should be the same monster that we fought in the first dungeon. Here you see me just checking the status real quick. This is another interesting monster. The tarantula was not supposed to be in this area in the original game either. They might be what replaced the scorpion. Melee doesn't do too much to these dudes. So you're going to see me take the back line and start using some magic on him. There we go. That's a lot better. 50 gil off just one monster. This next fight's actually pretty boring, so we're just going to go ahead and speed it up. Now here we find our next interesting monster, the Gigas Worm. This one was also not in the original game. I remember him giving me a lot of trouble the first time I ever played through this version. He spawns in the areas around Provoca, and he doesn't take a lot of damage from melee abilities, so you're going to see me go ahead and use fire on it to just kill him off. And the disappointing thing is, they're not really worth that much XP or gil. Now we're going to face another couple of them. And they are weak to magic, fire in particular. Bolt, as you'll see, not quite so much. We go fire 1, 52 damage. Bolt 1, 16. Not too effective. Couple more hits and we finish him off. Only 30 something gil and XP. Not really worth the fight. Now we get to fight 4 more crazy horses. They do take damage from physical, and they're also susceptible to bolt. You're going to see me attack different monsters here, rather than just focusing on one, trying to spread out the heavy damage from the bolt, and then hopefully finish them off with a couple of melee hits. I do this because magic use is limited in this game. You've only got so many uses per spell level. So if you have a monster down to, say, 20 HP, your bolt does 30 damage. You don't want to go ahead and use another bolt if you can kill it with a melee attack, because it's not going to take up one of your spell uses. And we'll go ahead and speed through the rest of this fight. After this fight, we've pretty much used up all our magic, so I'm going to go back to town and rest. Here you're actually going to see me move a little bit faster. That's because I just remembered that you can hold down circle to move faster than normal and speed the game along. Now we're in 25 in, and we're level 4. I'm going to go ahead and speed through the rest of this town section. All we're going to do here is buy a chainmail for the 2 people that don't have it, sell the leather armor, and then go buy an ice one and give it to Bash. Now here we're going to see the enemy I've been waiting for, the Ogre. These guys were in the original game, and they dropped the most gil and XP for this area. Unfortunately, they're kinda rough to fight. I'm gonna go ahead and use a fire here. An ice one. Oh, nope. Gonna go for the bolt, actually. We'll see which one does more damage. Bolt 1. 20. Our hits are actually doing okay. Fire 22, so about the same. Can use another fire. And an ice one. Here we go. Only 22. Not so much. These guys are actually what makes this area such a good place to farm early, as you're going to see once we kill them. $39 off that one. That was pretty good. And a 34 hit from Marcus. 97 XP and 390 gil. That's going to make our shopping go a lot quicker. Because the whole goal is to get everybody as decked out as possible. I want to buy as much magic as I can and get a little bit of gil saved up before we fight the pirates and move on. That's actually pretty much going to do it for today. The only thing left to do is do a little bit more farming. I'm just going to go ahead and speed that up and play you guys out with some music. Enjoy. Guys, my name's Bash. Thanks for watching. Catch you next time. Peace easy.